Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So, start of November 2023. So, let's look back at what happened in October 2023 with our monthly roundup of the most popular blockchain games in terms of on-chain activity data as ever taken from DApp Radar. So, this graph is looking at what's happened in 2023. We can see from the blue line here, which is Alien Worlds, that Alien Worlds has generally been the most popular blockchain game. And it wasn't in September, so Farmers World overtook it. But in October, Alien Worlds has regained the lead because Farmers World has sort of collapsed. So Farmers World is this game running on wax. Everyone assumes it's a bit of a zombie game because the developers aren't developing it anymore. So there's a gap in its data because DApp Radar stopped tracking it. So this is my historic data, and this is actually the only data DApp Radar has on it now. No idea why. But we can see basically in October this fell away a lot, so it sort of halved its audience. Alien Worlds looks very steady now. So Alien Worlds has dropped down a lot. That's partly because there's been some anti-bot stuff going on there, and also they've changed their reward structure, so they are giving more rewards to people with better NFTs, which again sort of generally plays into the hands of players rather than bots. So it's down from 250,000 down to under 150,000. We'll see how this continues, but this is probably to some degree this was probably the level of real players. It's still, there'll still be some bots in there, I'm sure, but this is probably the real level that it was back in the start of January, and we've sort of just come back to some better view of reality. Anyway, Alien Worlds is the still is back to being number one, at least in terms of on-chain activity. And we have Splinterlands, not quite back at number 2 where it has been for most for the first 6 months. Oh no, actually for most of the year it's been number 2. Again, it depends a little bit on what you think about Farmers World here. It's sort of regained a little bit. So it's up to about 50,000. There's a little peak here. So it started doing the pre-sale for its new card packs. The company's done a reorganisation, so splitting the company into, effectively splitting what was one company into 2 sub-companies. So one focusing on Splinterlands and one focusing on the other games. So hopefully over time we'll see a bit of a recovery from Splinterlands, but it's down sort of 50,000. It's not under 50,000 at least at the end of the month. So that's where we are with the most popular blockchain games. So they've all sort of dropped off. Obviously we have to remember it's a bear market, so generally people are not piling into blockchain games. And all these tokens are going down in price as well. Again, hopefully that's sort of changing a little bit, but we've not really seen with Alien Worlds and Splinterlands, the token prices are still, they're not bombing up. Let's put it that way. Okay, let's look at the slightly less popular blockchain games. So the most popular blockchain games we have, these are basically games that sort of are doing 100,000 daily active unique wallets. This graph here is this is doing sort of tens of thousands at most. So a bit more complicated going on here, but if we look at the blue and the red, they're the 2 games that are sort of the most solid. So Upland's been around for a number of years now, very, very solid, just banging along, just over 20,000. That's continued in October. Axie Infinity dropped a bit in September, sort of had some highs in September, also dropped down a little bit, and is now back up to about 15,000. So I think Axie Infinity is going to be a long play for it to sort of grow back into, whether it ever gets back to millions of players, we'll see. But certainly for it to get back to hundreds of thousands of on-chain players, on-chain wallets, that's going to be 2024 at least. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on there, so it's not just Axie Infinity. Origins, they've got various games that are potentially using the Axie NFTs that will sort of play into the data as well. But that's for 2024 now. Should say that the Axie Infinity token has actually performed quite well as we've seen the sort of pickup of crypto in the last month or so. 2 other games here. So Nine Chronicles runs on its own blockchain, South Korean game, and it sort of peaked at over 40,000 in September. It's dropped off a little bit and sort of come back. What we're looking for now in November is that the mobile version is going live. So 22nd of November, the mobile version goes live for the first time. And this is a PC game at the moment. And for me, it's always been much more suited to mobile. It's basically a idle 2D RPG. Runs on its own blockchain. So I'm not sure I necessarily expect to see the mobile version going out and the audience doubling, but I think over time it's much easier to get people playing that as a mobile game rather than the PC game. So I'd be looking certainly for the next sort of six months to see 9 Chronicles, or I wouldn't say I'd expect it, but I'd be looking to see upward growth there. So that would be, I think that would be, I think it's actually quite a good game. I've not played it this year, but played quite a lot of it in the past, and I'm quite looking forward to the mobile version and sort of playing that in a sort of mobile sort of setting where you're just sort of coming in, maybe once a day or a couple of times a day and seeing what's going on. So we'll see how that plays out. See how that works with app stores as well, I guess, assuming they're going through app stores, not just doing APKs. The other game here that I've highlighted is Untitled Platformer on the Scale blockchain, which is as the name suggests, a scaling sort of Ethereum. It's like an EVM blockchain. You could use it as a L1 blockchain, but most people use it as a sort of an L2 scaling solution. And this game, Untitled Platformer, came out on mobile and also on browser. It's a very simple 2D platforming game, and it did sort of really well in sort of August. It peaked just under 40,000. It's sort of come back down a little bit, and I'm not quite sure why we've had these very low days. Whether it's had problems or whether DappRadar's had problems counting the data, I'm not quite sure. We can see the broad trend. It's basically stuck around 30,000 daily active unique wallets, which is, in the scheme of things, actually pretty good. I mean, I'm not sure this is a very deep game that's going to have people playing for years. It's much more of that sort of sort of 2D platformer, hardcore. Can you complete levels and speed run it, all that sort of stuff. But interesting to see. So that's what's going on there. Final graph is this one, which I labelled bull run. I don't think we're in a bull run at the moment, but obviously the last month has been good for Bitcoin prices. So up from whatever it was, $27,000, $28,000 to $35,000 at the moment. So people are getting quite excited about this sort of stuff. And I do think, in the case of some of these games, we will start to see more of these, what we might call, I'll be sort of careful with my words here, but sort of more virally driven games, I suppose. So these are both on the BNB blockchain, which I think is a bit more sort of virally driven and a bit more focused on ROI. And there's not really, I can't point to many good sort of solid games on BNB. That's just not been the focus of people building on that blockchain, at least for me. So Seg Finance is this, we can just see, again, I'm not quite sure what this artifact is in here. We can see sort of steady growth from a fairly low level, and then at this point here, it suddenly booms up. So it's currently doing 60,000 daily active unique wallets. So what does it look like? Well, let's have a look at it, the website. So the website is actually called Crazy Shoe Mall. So I'm guessing, this is very much inspired by Stepan, but without really any of the gameplay. So as far as I can see, you don't have to do anything with these NFTs. So it looks like to me, you buy an NFT in BNB, you get a return per day. It's telling you what profit you make. You're not doing anything for this. There's probably a security. I'm sure Gary Geisler will get very excited about this sort of stuff. I assume they're probably a Chinese company or an Asian company, so obviously not in America. But and then you get a bonus through holding the day. So it's a little bit. I see this as a little bit of a hot potato game. So you're putting money in. You're seeing this massive return. Earnings even here spelt wrong. That's not great, is it? And if you don't withdraw, your profit grows even more. To me, this looks, it has all the hallmarks of a Ponzi scheme. I'm not saying it is a Ponzi scheme. I've not used it, but it sort of has that sort of mechanic. And you can see here, this is the amount of money that's been put into it in BNB. So 146,661 BNB have been put in, and the rewards so far are a fraction of that. So I'm guessing, the people who are buying into this now are probably the people who are paying out, the people who are cashing out. And we sort of Ponzi schemes, obviously, by the maths of exponential growth, at some point blow up. So it could go up quite a lot higher, but at some point it's going to break. And then this other game, it's called Battle Left, Center, Right. Not quite on the same level, I think. It's a bit more complicated than Seg Finance. So doing a bit, it has not had that massive growth spurt either. But in a bull market, people are looking for ways to make money. So this is the website, and this is sort of the game here. I've not played it, but it's sort of like a very much sort of based around a sort of casino-y type thing. So it gives you the odds of sort of winning against these. You basically choose which enemy you're playing against. You have this sort of like a pokery type sort of hand. You have to have the token in there. You hit battle, it's sort of an auto play type thing. To be fair to them, they have a whole white paper about all this sort of stuff and how they're not a Ponzi scheme, blah blah blah. But it is a very ROI driven sort of situation going on here. And you know, there are some games that are about the meta game of winning money rather than the point of playing the game and doing stuff in the game. It's not about money. So if you're interested in this sort of stuff, have a look at the white paper for BLCR, and the website is blcr.xyz. But you know, these are sort of games that I think, you know, can always be released, but I think they don't find this sort of growth in, you know, in bear markets. But when things get a bit more number go up, these things become a bit more attractive to people, and particularly if you have, you know, affiliate marketing, all that sort of stuff. I don't think actually BLCR does have that. I think this is a bit more of a serious project than the than the other game. But we'll see. You know, we know crypto, when crypto gets very very frothy, we can see, you know, hundreds of thousands of people coming into these things very quickly, and looking for quick money and coming out again. That's you know, in a sense, a feature, not a bug. But you know, we will see what pans out, and I'll be keeping an eye on those sort of games. But obviously, what we're hoping is to see the better products. These games, all of these games have been out for, well, apart from, you know, Untitled Platformer, all the other games have been out for years. You know, I've played them all. They're all pretty solid. I might like ones more than others, but these are all like proper games with proper teams behind them, been through various cycles, and they are sort of, you know, building out, trying to make the best games they can using blockchain, and that's, you know, that's what we want to see winning in the end. So anyway, thanks for watching the video. See you again next month.